Hi everyone, and welcome to the Pisces May 2022 Illumination reading. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot, a place for you to better connect with and illuminate your own personal spiritual importance. Or more simply put, to better find where you fit. Hi everyone. For those of you who are returning, thank you so much for your continued support of my channel. It means so much to me. And for those of you who are new, welcome and thank you for watching. So this reading here is meant to take a look at the energy that you're bringing as Pisces, as the individual into the month of May. We're going to take a look at what's going on around you in your external environment, and then a challenge that Spirit is asking you to face and overcome this month to unlock something about your unique self so that you can better see your path and purpose and understand your spiritual importance. All right, so let's dive right in, Pisces. Let's take a look at what you're bringing into the month of May. I hope you guys have all had a good start to the month. It's definitely a different energy. May is a master number 11 universal month for those of you who are into the numerology aspect of our experience. And number 11 really is all about bridging that, walking through the portal between here, what is, and what can be when we have faith and decide to co-create with Spirit. It's basically, we have an ability this month to elevate and to really lean into the bigger dream, the beautiful dream, if that makes sense. And Pisces, for you, I think this is really important because your motto as an astrological sign is I believe, and really leaning into that you believe in the possibilities for yourself that maybe perhaps you can't quite realize and touch and taste and feel right now in your physical environment, that you believe through continued action that they are going to come to you. So there is that ability this month to really kind of almost see what is going to be and being able to lay those foundations through direct action this month. Now again, the reality of it is not everything is going to manifest exactly as we would like it to be. But this is an opportunity to get ourselves in alignment with what we truly want for ourselves and to believe that it will come to us. All right, so very interesting here. So these are your initial cards. So Pisces, what you're bringing into the month of May is the Ace of Cups. This is new love. It's a reconnection to love. It's the offering from the divine of unconditional love for who you are as an individual, but it's also a reconnection to what fills your cup. What makes you feel fulfilled? What are the needs and the dreams and the hopes? It's a point of a rekindling of your emotional connection to all of life. It's a beautiful energy to come in with. And actually, I can't remember now who it was. Another sign came in with this as well. Oh, I want to say Taurus. That's interesting. So for some of you, if you're dealing with a Taurus, you might want to take a look at their reading as well. In your external environment, we have the Nine of Pentacles, which is a great card to have in your external environment. This is one of independence. It's one of having a lot and feeling good and being able to actually enjoy the fruits of your labor. It's really one of abundance. It's being able to, again, feel good in what you've created around yourself and what's coming in for you as well. But what's interesting is that what you're facing this month is the Four of Pentacles. And the Four of Pentacles is an energy of holding yourself back. It's when you're not quite ready to commit. You can see this is an individual sitting with 4 pentacles and he's holding tightly to these pentacles. And what can happen when we get to this point is when we're actually being asked by the universe to invest in something or to get past, we can sit at this point of enjoying the stability we've created for ourselves, and we can be proud of that. But there's an element here, I think, where in connecting with the abundance that's going on in your external environment, that many of you are sitting here going, wow, I really want that. I really want to level up to that. I really want to get to that level of independence. But there's something where you're not willing to budge. You're not willing to invest something in the physical, whether this is time, energy, money. And this month you're going to be facing a challenge around really showing you where you need to kind of release this stalemate, this kind of holding back energy with yourself, especially when you're bringing in this beautiful connection to new love. So there's again a rekindling to that feeling, that emotional connection to life. And I think, and we'll see what the cards come out here, but I'm just getting intuitively that it's almost like you're reconnecting to this and then almost afraid that it's going to be taken away. And the beautiful thing about when we kind of feel the spark again, and this could be literally that some of you are experiencing new love, you've entered into a new relationship, or you're just rekindling that beauty, you're touching almost the divine through your heart space. And there can be that really fearful moment of realizing that this could all be taken away at some point. You know, I know even myself, I am a relatively new mom. My daughter is 8 months old, and I can tell you that there are moments that go by where the beauty of being a mother touches me so much, and the beauty of seeing my daughter and who she is, and as she's literally growing day to day right in front of my eyes. And there's that moment, that bittersweet moment of realizing, oh my gosh, this is such a precious being to me. And there's that momentary fear that comes in. But what we can't do is we can't live from that place of fear. I can't go in and put rubber mats all around my daughter's room and never let her leave the house until she's 18. You know, it's one of those things where you have to feel the fear, be grateful that you have something to be so protective over, and realize that you have to lean into it even more. So we have the Lovers right here as your main challenge point. And this really does speak to a relationship, new love specifically. So I'm going to read this really around love. For those of you who are not dealing with that, this could also be where you are rekindling a deep love for something, for a career path, for something that's kind of jump-starting your emotional core here. It could be even a hobby. Maybe you've reconnected with your love of writing, or your love of going out into the outdoors and connecting with beauty. But for most of you, what I'm seeing is a very clear, especially with the Three of Swords coming up directly after that, it's very clear that you guys are facing a little bit of that fear around new burgeoning relationship, or really leaning into something around love that is just starting. So with the Lovers is, especially as a main challenge point here, the Lovers is a beautiful energy of where we get to really experience what we love. Now, this harnesses the number 6, which in numerology, the number 6 does work with the energy of love. This year, 2022, is actually a 6 universal year. So we are all having that influence in our life. It's also the energy of where we can make a decision in what we love. But it can also speak to when sometimes we feel that love is outside of ourselves, that we have to seek the other, that we have to seek something that is beyond us to experience this love. And with the Ace of Cups, this is really denoting the realization that you can actually feel that even without another partner. We always can come back to a full cup. You know, there's that saying of you have to put your oxygen mask on yourself first before you put it on somebody else. And it's a little bit of this, of that you have to appreciate and protect yourself and be able to be comfortable in yourself before you can then pour from your cup into another or share that with another. But to come back to this, when this is in a challenge position, this is when we are kind of one foot in, one foot out. We know what we love. When the Lovers comes up, we always know. It's our heart has already made that decision. We know what we love. But with the Three of Swords coming up directly after that, this is when all those wounds from the past creep back in, and we are faced with all of the mental anguish we have gone through previously. So if this isn't directly tied to, let's say, a past relationship and then you getting into a new one and having a little bit of fear and wounding come up, this could also be where maybe you are starting a new career path or starting maybe a new business, something that you love, or even a hobby, and you go back to a time when you maybe were not at your best in your work environment, or when you tried to start a business before and it failed, or when somebody in your life who was maybe in an influential role or position told you that you weren't good enough. And that can prevent us, that can bring us into this place of, even though our heart has already made the choice, we are sitting here in this mental state of anguish saying, well, it probably isn't going to work, or maybe I'm not reading this correctly. This could be also where, again, you're coming out of a bad relationship and the last person told you that you weren't lovable, or the last person you constantly fought over something specific and you took that away with you, and you're like, that's probably what's going to happen again. And what is very interesting here, actually, Pisces, is that the Spirit is asking you to embrace the Two of Swords, which this at the heart of your reading is what you're meant to embrace to help you overcome this challenge. And what's interesting is the Two of Swords is a card of indecision. It's a card when we are looking at two options that seem on the surface to be identical, and yet we can't choose one or the other, and so we must basically get quiet and go within and sit and connect to our intuition and be able to make that choice from the heart, to get out of the head and into the heart. So I think why Spirit is asking you to embrace the Two of Swords is to realize that to be in a relationship or out of a relationship, or to make the choice between almost thinking, okay, if I start this business, are you comparing this business to the last business that failed? It's one of those things where you're being asked to take a look at what is currently going on in your life, the decision you're holding yourself back from, you're too afraid, and really to go within and say, well, what is your heart? What is the decision you already know you've made? And to really look at those two options closely and to say, are they really identical? Are they really? Or are there all kinds of differences to the one that you have? Because the more that you embrace this is Moon in Libra. And Libra is a sign that really can look at both sides equally with kind of an unbiased judgment. And that's the energy you're being asked to adopt here, is to look at whatever you're comparing this thing that you love, and you're worried about committing to it, and you're worried about, is this the right decision, that you're being asked to sit there and really utilize the energy of Libra to look at that and say, even though they appear to be similar, are they really? And it is almost kind of like the devil's in the details, because as you really lean into this, you'll realize all these little things that when you get down to it, these two swords do look identical, but one ultimately is a little different. And when you close your eyes and you think about it, it's those little imperfections that are bringing you back to realizing, oh wait, this is why I love this thing. This is why in my heart I'm choosing this. Because on the other side we have death. And death is a card of both death and transformation. It harnesses the energy of Scorpio, which at its highest vibrational frequency, the Scorpio can be the phoenix rising. And that's the beauty of the energy that the death card holds, is that it's one of two things, both that and the other side, that is also the great equalizer, that in the eyes of everything, the universe, we will all die. None of us will continue in this experience specifically. We might come back, might go to heaven, whatever you choose to believe. But in this experience, in this physical experience, at some point, it will come to an end. But in understanding that, we also have to realize that's something that we have to face, and that's bringing us back to realizing that we can't hold ourselves back from following what we love, from leaning into that, from hiding behind kind of a veil of fear, because ultimately life is short. And I do feel like this is coming through very strongly. I feel like this is why I made mention earlier, interestingly enough, of my little example with my own daughter, that there's always going to be this element of realizing how temporal our lives are, and that should actually elevate the beauty of the experience and only emphasize more why we are choosing to devote ourselves and to commit and to continue to give to that thing that makes us so fearful that we might lose it. Because on your last point of challenge is the Four of Swords. And the Four of Swords is where you get a chance to rest and remove the three swords that are not yours, the three swords that have hidden your truth, the truth of who you really are, the truth that you are the person who can go out and start a business around something you love, even though maybe other people have told you that that's a foolish business or that you'll never be great at doing what you're going to do. It doesn't matter. In your heart of hearts, you've already chosen, and time is short, so go out and do it. Same thing with this is around love, that this is where you remove all of those wounds from the past relationships, all of the things, both family related. This could be where you even experience something around emotional wounding with your parents and parental dynamics, and you've kind of carried that forward. It's about getting rid of all of that. You hold a sort of truth of what you want, and you get to release these past wounds, and that's what's going to allow you to really step out into this beautiful place of abundance and realize really where you've been holding yourself back, that you can have all of this independence and you can enjoy what you really want in the physical. You can enjoy what you love in the physical, but you have to be willing to face that fear that, yeah, it might get taken away. But that's what makes this whole experience all the more beautiful. If you think about it, if everything was always available to us, it's almost like going into that candy shop, and at any point you could eat as much of your favorite candy as you wanted. Well, you really wouldn't, you'd end up getting bored with it. It wouldn't cause you to have the same, this intense feeling of love for it. You'd just be kind of like, it's always here and I can eat as much as I want and it doesn't really affect me. It's the timing of this that makes everything, that makes our lives bittersweet, but beautiful. So, Pisces, your message is very deep. It's coming across as very beautiful, very deep. And I think, again, really looking at your sign, the two fish, this is your ability to dive down to the depths of what we can feel emotionally, but to go up to the heavens, to experience literally that feeling of heaven. It's the highs and the lows, and it's like this month you get to mix it all and feel the beauty of life through that. Okay, so now I'm going to pull and for some of you, I just want to let you know, for those of you who would like a deeper dive into this reading, there is an extended reading that you can click on the link in the description box below to view if some of you would like to continue to dive more into this. So I'm pulling 3 cards here. 1 card for the concept of curiosity. I love that this came out, Door to Romance, number 33. This is a master number of the spiritual builder. And when we think of curiosity, this is where Spirit would like you to stay open and curious too. And I think this sums this up perfectly. Where can you stay open? Where have you closed yourself off from leaning into the romance of life, from leaning into enjoying the abundance that is around you and that you've also created for yourself? And where are you holding yourself back from really using that key and opening up the door to your heart, opening up the door to living in this beautiful existence, leaning into what you love? I love that. Okay, now we're going to pull a card for the concept of courage, and this is where Spirit would like us to be courageous in taking action. So what does Pisces need to know about? Okay, so you have 2 cards that came out. we have surrender to rest and sleep. To prevent burnout, slow down. Honor your need for quiet time and peaceful sleep to rejuvenate your mind, body, and spirit. Which really, I think, plays on this Four of Swords, which is a card of rest and rejuvenation. You see these men sitting around what looks to be like kind of like an oasis in the desert, and they've probably journeyed quite some time, and now they're sitting. And they put their swords down and they're talking, and each one will get up eventually and take only their sword back with them. And that's really what you're being asked to do this month, is to really sit and allow your intuition to come in, allow yourself to have that time to quietly analyze. Again, you're being really asked to kind of go into the mental space this month and to allow death to come in a certain way and get rid of some of these negative stories you've been carrying with you. And that can happen when you have kind of a rested, peaceful mind. And then you have surrender to silence. So again, this is really underscoring that. It says, in quiet meditation or contemplation, let go and enter the stillness within. Silence can heal and replenish you. And I'm feeling more of this, that there's this element of kind of, I think maybe some of you have been overthinking, and that in this surrendering to rest and sleep and surrendering to silence, it's almost like you're feeling your way through the thoughts. You're feeling your way through the swords, and eventually you're just going to kind of come out cleansed, if that makes sense. Okay, and then I'm going to, so again, when you're thinking about the courage to take action, it can be hard to say no to doing something when you know, it's almost like the FOMO thing of like, I really want to go out and do all these social things, but in reality, you need some quiet time for yourself. Or maybe you've been pushing yourself a lot at work, and in reality, it's time to just kind of go home early each night and really sit and enjoy the new love that's come in for you. All right. And let's see, for the final card here, we're pulling a card for the concept of contemplation. So where would Spirit like you to be reflective for the month of May? Kind of an underlying theme just to keep in mind, to really give you that courage to lean into love. All right. Let's see here. What does, oh, there we go. All right, so we have, break the chain, ancestral patterns, healing, rewriting the future. Another, I think Aquarius actually got this card in the same placement as well. So break the chain. This is where you do get to break the chain. You get to heal. You get to rewrite your future moving forward. You get to break the chain by removing the three swords, by realizing what was never yours to carry with you to begin with. Sometimes we even carry forward traits from a parental figure or from somebody that, you know, kind of wounded us, and so we said, we're not going to be like that person, and so we actually tried to adopt the opposite set of traits. And it's almost like doing that out of a place of protecting yourself from ever having to experience what that other person felt. And it's almost like at this point it's time to remove that acting in a specific way out of fear. It was based in fear to begin with, fear that you would do something negative to yourself or enact a negative pattern you saw somebody else do, and instead get back to the understanding of who you are, the truth of who you are. That even if you acted in the way that this other person acted, you would know, and you wouldn't do the same things that they did. That in the same situations, you don't have to act opposite, you just need to act in alignment with yourself. I hope that makes sense. All right, so for those of you who would like to join me in the comprehensive, I will dive deeper into the Four of Pentacles, where you're holding back, what you need to know about that. I will pull additional cards for the Lovers, the Two of Swords, and the Four of Swords. I'll probably also pull additional cards for the Door to Romance because I love that one. And then I will pull cards for the theme of romantic love. So we'll take a look more in depth at what you can expect for the month of May around romantic love. And then I'll pull a final card for just an overarching message for the month of May. All right, so for any of you who are interested in booking a personal reading, I do have a link to my website in the description box below as well. And if I don't see you in either of those two places, I do hope to see you back here in June for your next Illumination reading by Pisces.